Okay, here we go. Round two. Round two. The last video I was talking about police officers all over the United States just absolutely trampling on people's rights and beating the shit out of people, shooting them, tasing them, paralyzing them, and killing them, and then they simply pay out. And then once in a great while, when there's way too much public pressure, they'll indict somebody, and it's the old Rodney King type setup. But here's another thing I warned you about a long time ago. Do you remember when I told you when Geordie Rose, the money man behind D-Wave Quantum Computer, the computer that literally you ask it a question and it gets the answer from, according to scientists, from where we don't know. It's a 24/7 internet connection to another dimension where they're talking to fallen angels and they're giving them information and telling them how to make a new world order where they'll be the one religion, and it's all going to blow up in their faces, but it's all going to blow up in our faces, and it's all happening faster than you kind of could have imagined because this is on the news now.
Now to the Pentagon, where senior U.S. officials tell NBC News the Biden administration is increasingly concerned about the alliance between Russia and North Korea as the U.S. braces for potentially intensifying military actions from the countries ahead of the November election.
KT, is a new world order taking shape?
So, yeah, I think the Chinese are setting up the new global world order that's going to rest on China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, whatever they can pick up in the BRICS and the global south, and then they'll reset the rules of the international rules-based order.
What has brought them together, quite frankly, it is what you're suggesting is a new world order.
Taiwan.
So yeah, I stole that from Jason A., the guy with 1 million subscribers who's never shown his face once, who's never spoken a single word, but constantly asks you to give him money for his work. Support my work. He puts out a video a week with 5 different mainstream media clips. It's helpful for me because I don't watch television, so it works out well. But do you see what these guys are talking about? The mainstream media is talking about the New World Order and an October surprise. They're doing this. The timetable is going to be before the election. There will not be another election. If you watch the movie that I put up for free for everybody to watch, Civil War 2024, the movie made no point. There was no sense to it. It just showed America under attack, America turning on herself, fighting, this, that, and the other thing. But the only point, the only conclusion that could be drawn was from the beginning to the end of that movie was all these guys were running and running and running, and all they wanted to do was kill the president. That's going to happen, and this is why. Joe Biden is a robot. Joe Biden is I don't know what Joe Biden is. Maybe he's a robot. Maybe he is I forgot what I was saying. Geordie Rose left D-Wave to go work for Kindred to make robots that were indistinguishable from humans years ago. Well, I got a funny feeling that's what Joe Biden is. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, look at this.
Because if you fly over these areas that are burned to the ground, you'll see in the midst of 20 homes that are just totally destroyed, one home sitting there because it had the right roof on it. And anyway, since I took office, FEMA's provided Texas alone because if you fly over these areas that are burned to the ground, you'll see in the midst of 20 homes that are just totally destroyed, one home sitting there because it had the right roof on it.
Okay, that's one example. What he's doing is he's literally validating the conspiracy theory that they can use directed energy weapons. Directed energy weapons, for the most part, you can't see them with the human eye, but you can pick them up with certain types of cameras and certain types of glasses. It's a very rare thing, but we see video of people catching directed energy while there's a wildfire breaking out that doesn't actually burn any of the forest. Biden right there coming out saying that could either be, hey, we don't even care. We're telling you what you're doing and you're still doing nothing about it. Or the fact that this guy is just an absolute zombie. I mean, I've got never-ending videos of this guy kissing and he's got his hand on this little girl's boob. You can't do that. That's unbelievable, man. But I mean, I've got miles of footage of this and so doesn't everybody else. This guy is just like everybody else. He's a pedophile. And don't forget about these two. This guy and this lady right here. But it is what it is. Let me get out of this. Now, this one's insane, but it literally backs up. The mainstream media is literally saying the same stuff we've been telling you for years. Obama is the president. Obama is the Antichrist. Obama's face and his likeness is carved all over the Egyptian pyramids and temples. He even pointed it out. Because of where I'm at right now and the fact that I lost one of my computers in Florida, thanks to the glass smashing assholes, whatever, I don't have that on hand, and I don't have the internet bandwidth to find it right now. But Obama's image, he walks into he sees a bunch of hieroglyphics while he's touring a pyramid, and he looks right at one and says, "Hey, that looks like me," and it's an exact replica. The Egyptians are the only people that literally dressed people after they were dead, mummies, where 2,000 years later, their DNA could still be viable where they could clone them. And that's what Obama is. But now the mainstream's saying it, which just blew me away.
But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually, analytically, start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
Now, real quick, let me jump in. I find it very strange that guy, whoever he is, says that this version, like version 2.0 or operating system iOS 13, this is the best version of Joe Biden. I just caught that as I was saying it. The guy's a robot, or whatever he is.
Now, of course, the footage that emerged early on from the event, including the bizarre spectacle of the U.S. president wandering off after a skydiving display and having to be wrangled back into line by his counterparts, other world leaders, was bizarre enough. And this led to amazed commentary from around the world, as well as this fantastic New York Post front page, Meander in Chief. That's him, folks. And then there was this uncomfortable moment when the president went in for an intimate forehead-to-forehead moment with the Holy Father, Pope Francis.
Anyway, and I don't want to, well, maybe choose my words. I'll go ahead and just pull a shrine. Los Angeles and what am I doing here? From the...
And the leader of the free world was in sterling form last night after a big Democrat fundraiser in LA with many A-listers there, the usual suspects, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Barbara Streisand. Watch here as Barack Obama grabs Biden's arm and helps direct the confused POTUS off stage.
Now, real quick, watch how Biden walks. He's walking right next to Obama. Watch his footsteps. It's incredibly robotic. You see what I'm saying?
I think we found out who the puppet master is. No wonder many savvy pundits consider this Obama's third term, and it's been his most disastrous yet.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J.
Joe Biden also had another bizarre encounter with the press this week when he seemed to shout at them in gibberish.
Are you worried about the war? Are you worried about the
Latest polls reveal American voters are realizing their president is a walking disaster, with many who supported him in 2020 now turning their backs on him in 2024.
now turning their backs on him in 2024, leaving no other option. But that's the first time I've ever heard the news say that many savvy pundits know that Obama's secretly behind the scenes running this. This is his third term, and it's going terribly. But no, it's not. When Biden was placed in office, I told you that was to show everybody else this is how pathetic and weak America is. And in the time since Biden showed up, what have they done? They flooded the country with illegals. They flooded the country with drugs. Fentanyl. I've never ran into fentanyl, and I'm glad for it because it's probably awesome. I don't know. Drugs are awesome, but just don't do them because you get hooked. It is what it is. I'm not going to lie. People don't get hooked on them because they suck. But fentanyl, you can get high and overdose cheaper than you can buy a gallon of gas or a gallon of milk. How pathetic is that? So this whole thing coming undone isn't a disaster. It is for us. The disaster is that 7/8 of our population don't get it, and the last remaining percentage is, what are you guys waiting for? What are you waiting for? I drove around the entire United States in 2020, every single solitary state, and gathered as many of you guys together as I possibly could and put you in contact with each other. Haven't really heard a thing about it. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Zero. So the October surprise, they're going to do something before the election. They have to. Don't forget that Barack and his husband Michael put out that movie, Leave the World Behind. That's not just a nothing. That's showing us. That's showing us exactly what they plan on doing, and that is what they would do. Directed energy, 5G, taking down the internet, taking down the internet, you take down everything, because over the last 25 years, they've intertwined everything into corporations so that they could stand together. You know what I mean? We all stand together like they told us during COVID. They're doing this, and they're going to knock out the banks. They have to. It's inevitable. The last standing talisman is the $1 bill that shows their plan right on the back. Why don't Americans ask why there's a pyramid on the back of their money? Do you remember the time we came from Egypt? Oh, no, that's not us at all. We came from England, allegedly. But this is insane. At any rate, if you were smart, you would use the link that I'm going to leave that a bunch of you guys have used and no one's had an issue. Get your money out of the bank, because if you decide in a month or so, it's going to be too late. Because if they actually do pull this off before October, things are going to start falling in the next couple of months. And having gold and silver instead of fiat paper or numbers in a bank account someplace that they absolutely will fight you tooth and nail to get out, the guys at Gold Co. will do it for you. Get your money out of the bank. Do not say I didn't warn you. I've been warning you to my own detriment. Put it that way. You know what I'm saying? It's insane how this is just going on and on and on and on. And every time we turn around, we hear things like this.
Yeah, well, it's part of what you're talking about is this new global world order and the new Cold War, which is going to be led by China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran.
What do you make of 100 Chinese nationals trying to get into U.S. military bases, appearing as tourists and saying, hey, all have the same story? What is with that?
Yeah, it's like they're coming in through the doors and the walls and the crack in the floor. Yeah, the Chinese are clearly penetrating United States intelligence. It started with the spy balloon, probably started before that. They're looking at us from Cuba. They've got divers that are going off of U.S. naval installations. They've got tourists going into hotels that are near American military installations. I mean, they even have White House tours where Chinese tourists are, quote, getting lost and taking pictures of areas they're not supposed to take. I think a lot of this is just the whole Chinese approach to intelligence is hoover up as much as you can. We'll figure out what we'll use it for later. But yes, and it's also in your face. They're not even trying to disguise it.
Do you see what they're telling you? And do you see how the people are reacting? Oh, it's like they're coming in through the woodwork and the floors. Ha ha ha. It's no big deal because they're not going to be here for it. But they are telling you who's going to lead that. In a real world, if this wasn't already a new world order where every single... I mean, I don't know what else to tell you if you still think otherwise. But if every single country in the world locked down for COVID like they told us they did, and all this hell broke loose and this, that, and Russia and China and all these places were locked down, then they're all in on it completely. They've already done the New World Order. They just need to figure out how to get rid of us. We're the last onion in the ointment. You see what I'm saying? We're the last fly in the Vaseline. We're the ones that are supposed to fight back. And I told you they would wait till guys like myself were just too old to be able to do it. Well, seems like I'm eating those words now, because when I first started this channel, I would kick your ass. No two ways about it. All different ways, hand to hand, any way you could think of. And now I've only got a few options left, but I will take those options. You see what I'm saying? I've already ruined my life. I've ruined my future. I've ruined everything. I've stayed single to continue doing this because I couldn't get with somebody else who would veer me away from this. Like, Richie, don't talk about that. Why rattle people up and this, that? I couldn't do it. I had to stay single to stay on this track because I believe God has given me a plan. Because when I look at what I'm doing and I look at what my life was and how I ended up where I'm at right now, it all makes sense. Otherwise, my life was just an absolute shit show. It was a really cool movie, but it sucked for the guy playing me, which was me. You know what I mean? So, if that makes any sense, get your money out of the bank and be prepared. They're telling you. Oh, my mistake. I almost forgot. Gotta love Jason A. He's really good at putting 3 news clips together once a week. Send him money, don't forget.
It may sound like the stuff out of movies, but an asteroid hurtling towards the Earth is something real-life scientists are preparing for at NASA. They're refining the plan because in a few short years, a space rock could come quite close.
Well, astronomers may be witnessing something never seen before by humans, a supermassive black hole roaring back to life. In 2019, astronomers noticed a sudden spike in brightness in a galaxy 300 million light years away.
Interject. Okay, if you remember me from the early days when I used to have Anthony Patch on weekly and we were always talking about the galaxy, the stars, this, that, and the other thing, I went my separate ways with Anthony. 2 reasons. He wanted to charge you guys $1 to leave a comment, and I thought that was insane. Second thing, he believed in planets and all that other stuff. Here's the deal. God created us. We didn't come from monkeys. Because I just thought of this last night. If evolution were real, we're the top of the food chain, except everything else evolved better than we did. What does that even mean? Why is it? Whatever. We evolved terribly because we all evolved naked. Why did everything else evolve to have blubber or fur or this, that, and the other thing, and we were just naked? We didn't evolve from monkeys. I'm not a monkey. You're not a monkey. And if you think you're a monkey, you're on the wrong channel. At any rate, I studied NASA, black holes. I love this stuff. I was always taking pictures before I was even Richie from Boston. Black holes were always a theory, and then one day, out of the blue, no pun intended, they became fact. Black holes aren't real. They aren't real whatsoever at all. So everything you're going to see from now on is just more nonsense. And it gets even nonsensier.
Galaxy has been emitting more visible and infrared light in recent years and even started emitting X-rays in February. Researchers think they may be witnessing a supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy awakening.
Well, if the solar eclipse and the northern lights weren't enough for you, a once-in-a-lifetime explosive event in space is expected soon, and it could light up our sky over Michigan.
NASA predicting a once-in-a-lifetime event sometime this month. I get a Clock's date? Ticking. Oh.
Be on the lookout for what looks like a new star in the night sky between now and September. The rare brightening event is known as a nova.
NASA reports that a star system 3,000 light years away, known as 𝗲𝗂𝗃, is about to erupt in a rare nova explosion. This event will create a new star visible from Earth, possibly as bright as the North Star. The last time this happened was back in 1946. Scientists predict the explosion could occur by September, but the exact timing remains uncertain.
And once again, while watching this, it just came to me. They mentioned the eclipse. They mentioned the northern lights that went all the way to Florida, which is impossible because they would have named them the skylights. They wouldn't have named them the northern lights if they always went down to Florida. Whatever they're going to do, that's what the setup was. That was the eclipse. That was the northern lights. They're going to do some magic with a K in the sky on us. These guys are they're going to hit us. What I've always told you, they're going to hit us from every single solitary angle. And apparently that's what it looks like they're doing now.
A group of researchers say they've identified at least 7 stars that might be surrounded by super advanced alien megastructures known as Dyson spheres. Yes, I said alien structures, and I know what you're thinking, but just stay with me here, because the basic idea was this: superior intelligent life might build big structures around their home stars or planets as a way to harness or reuse that energy. A 1960s physicist who came up with this idea, Freeman Dyson, argued that if these structures existed, there'd be so much energy that human scientists on Earth could probably spot it because it would emit a lot of infrared radiation. So in this new study, researchers say they found 7 sources glowing in the infrared, those are their words, but couldn't find an obvious explanation for why these sources are glowing so much.
Well, this video is getting too long, but I'll tell you why they're glowing so much. Because bullshit from NASA gives off an amazing glow. That's what's glowing through the window right behind me. I'm sure of it. That must be a Dyson sphere, because a guy from the 60s came up with that. Even though they couldn't figure out how to get to the moon. I mean, it's just absolutely astonishing, but here's what they're doing. They're coming at us from every single solitary angle. Be ready for this. Do not lose your vigilance. Am I saying that right? Because I think I kind of did. But I'm not going to. I'm going to stay on this because this is getting really crazy. And I don't know. I've met so many people. It's astonishing how many people just don't care. They don't talk about this. This is a non-issue. Everything in the world on America is crumbling in from every single angle humanly possible. And don't forget that they say that there's now a demon face syndrome. These guys are doing this. This is happening. Be ready for it. Or don't, at any rate. I'm out.